This is the court of Louis XIV, and this is the royal we. Are these people mad? Are they perverted? Or are they just French?
Bonsoir, comment allez-vous, Emmet?
Ah oui, bien sûr, qu'est-ce que c'est? Pendant les rondes vacances, les oiseaux chantaient dans les arbres.
Yes, and with that little bit of German from Mel there, we welcome you to the 5th in our series of lectures.
Yes, and tonight we're looking at absolutely my favourite period in history, when the British beat the hell out of the French.
That's right, yes, okay, we'll find Yes, we certainly Okay, a fascinating historical study
Those
based
frogs
on...
didn't know what hit them, eh?
Yeah, on film evidence. Yes, thanks very much. Yeah, Mel, thank you. We are talking about the Napoleonic Wars. It was a time of bloody, futile conflict and bloody silly hats. The troops marched to the rhythm of drums, and the cost of missing a beat was very high indeed. It was a sort of Eurovision song contest with cannons. And on one side was England. Yeah, England entered the war with... I'm sorry, Mel, I'm totally sorry. I'm sorry, just to interrupt you for a moment. Could you just stop that pom, 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 pom? You know, just with the thing.
Just a bit of patriotic
Yeah, I know,
music.
I don't understand.
No, sorry, every time England's mentioned, you have to have patriotic music. They always do.
Do they?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I don't want it. Thanks very much. Okay, is that all right?
Sure.
If I just do my bit without them.
Fine,
okay. What I was trying to say was that England beat France. But why did they go to war in the first place? Well, we sent Lady Hamilton to interview Sir Rodney Pompous.
Well, here's England.
Just a tiny little bit. Where are we?
Here at Naples.
But why should England fight?
Well, because all through these centuries, she has built up a commonwealth in which every little spot has its purpose and value to the balanced line of life. And there are always men who, for the sake of their insane ambition, want to destroy what other people build. And therefore, this tiny little bit, as you call it, Emma, has to send out its ships again and again to fight those who want to dictate their will to others.
Hello, she's been hypnotised here. Wake up, dear, wake up! Yes, well, there we are, a sort of 18th century Sir Geoffrey Howe there.
Were the French insanely ambitious, or were they just insane?
Now, we want to be as fair as we possibly can. This is an historical account with no room for personal bias, Mel. Mm-hmm. So, let's take a random selection of French people. And here... and here, a couple are out for a Sunday stroll. Here, a man and wife share a quiet moment down in the duvet-making factory. Here, a waitress greets some regular customers at her restaurant. A couple of old friends run into each other in an early lift. And an employer interviews a prospective secretary. Yes, she got the job.
I mean, the French were absolutely dire. Let's just listen in on this discussion between this handsome English yeoman and a pompous, mustachioed Parisian slimy.
It's a crying shame. Half the English executioners out of work as it is.
And why are they out of work? Because they are only fit to serve the bull necks of their countrymen with a butcher's spear. But a woman's neck, a queen's neck, and that calls for finesse, for delicacy, for chivalry. In one word, a Frenchman.
I could think of another word.
So can we.
Yes, all right. So, all right, they are a bit pompous, they're a bit slimy, but let's not forget that the French are also the world's greatest romantic lovers.
Oh, yeah.
Question now, my dear D'Artagnan, is what do we do with the wench?
The answer, my dear friend, is obvious. I make love to her.
I make love to her. We make love to her.
Yes, she's heard that one before.
Yes, in those days it was literally one for all and all for one.
And a total of 3 for all, as far as I can see. Bloody French
Yes,
people.
come on, let's remember that the French were at least far ahead of the British in their table manners.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Control.
Yes, all right, maybe not table manners, but they certainly knew a thing or two about fashion.
And here at the house of Jean-Paul Froufrou, the fashionable chapeau shop, a young monsieur tries on a new hat. He's obviously going to have to come back next week for another fitting.
Yeah. I wonder if we could we hold the clip there for a moment? I wonder, is it possible just to take that back a bit there, yes? I'm sure, as Mel has realised, this is one of the big moments of our programme tonight, the spotting of this week's member of the Mel Smith family. Yes, big, fat, hairless sort of...
There are no French in my family. I have lived in Chiswick all my life.
Yes, in sort of Chiswick at all, yeah. Well, obviously, I just thought that might be a sort of like a certain Monsieur Jean Mel Smith at all, but obviously not. I mean, someone who was a bit like, you know...
someone who liked punching small Welshman called Jones. Yes, I remember him.
No, obviously. I mean, obviously this isn't him at all, you know. It just reminded me, seeing him, that obviously that there were basically 2 types of frog at this time. The fat, stupid peasant who doesn't look like Mel Smith at all.
And the snobby, fish-faced aristofrog who looked exactly like Griff. Who enjoyed nothing more than dancing a jig with his sofa.
The peasants lived in overcrowded barrels.
So what was the aristocrat's attitude to these people?
You dogs. I would ride over all of you willingly and exterminate you from the earth.
Yes, what we've come to know as caring conservatism. Working for an aristocrat was like signing a contract with Rupert Murdoch. Here, a peasant experiences his first day clocking in at work. And here, a faithful employee receives his retirement present.
But...
At Christmas time, the decorative peasants were used to adorn the tree. And during the summer, they were used as lawnmowers. Let's leave le jardin and go inside la maison, where we've discovered something very peculiar indeed. Here we see a typical French woman, beautifully dressed as a Black Forest gatto, coming down to greet her guests, who themselves are all dressed as a selection of mouth-watering desserts.
Yeah, just a minute. Sorry, just a minute, Mel. Actually, I don't think that is a woman.
Yes, of course it is. Look at the long hair she's got.
No, but he's got a moustache.
No. Oh, come on, Graham. I mean, don't tell me you've never seen a woman with a moustache. I mean, this is before Imac was invented, you know.
No, actually, I don't think so, honestly.
No, honestly, Graham, I've done my research,
okay,
honestly.
fine.
And all the women at this time had moustaches.
I see.
Honestly,
Yeah.
have a look. Look, see, that on the right there, that's Marie Antoinette, you see? That little cracker she is, eh?
No, yeah. Well, I know you've always liked them a bit rough, Mel.
No,
but really,
love the full handlebar and the goatee. I love the maid's moustache as well. Very nice, yeah. Mind you, I must say I don't usually like them that old, but yeah.
Yeah, actually, you don't usually like them that sex, Mel. I mean, that is... That is a man there. That one with just...
Okay, let's have a look at something else. Now, that is a man.
A man?
Well, he's wearing trousers, isn't he? It's a good, broad-chested, wide-shouldered, clean-shaven bloke.
Which reminds me, Colbert is still waiting to talk to you about that Spanish upstart you're about to marry, I expect.
You see, just getting ready to play a game of tennis, isn't he?
Yeah, but I mean... No, he's got such a high-pitched voice.
So does Emlyn Hughes, mate. He played full-back for Liverpool. Here he comes. Ah, here he comes. Look at him. It's unmistakable. Dominant, forceful, confident. Every inch the man, eh?
I know you have to do it, Louis. I will never let her have you.
Ah, you little temptress. Those come-to-bed eyes. Look at her. Look at her.
Yeah, can we stop the clip? Just a moment, please. Just stop. Just stop. No, I'm sorry. She's definitely a woman because she just said she was.
No.
She said, I am the only woman. I'm the only woman for you.
I think he's bluffing.
No, just a minute. Please, that's quite enough, I think. I think he knows it's a woman for a start. Okay. And can we perhaps, if we could just get back to the tits, okay? I'm sorry, the tits. Now, on the one hand, we have the aristocracy, and on the other, the peasants. But all this was come to an end because of one famous moment in history when Marie Antoinette, Queen of France, said, "Let them eat cake." And so, inevitably, this led to the French Revolution and the fall of the house.
Yes. Do you mind? Can I just butt in here? Because I don't know about anybody else. I've always found this very confusing. I mean, after all, cake, right?
Yeah.
Cake's rather nice, isn't it? I like eating cake, right?
Right. Well, that's pretty obvious, yeah.
I mean, everyone likes eating cake, right?
Yeah.
So what's so wrong about saying let them eat cake? It's a nice thing to happen, isn't it?
Really, you're incredibly naive, aren't you?
Am I?
For heaven's sake. She didn't actually say let them eat cake, did she?
Oh!
No, this is what she actually said.
Let them eat grass. That's what I always say. Let them eat grass.
And there we are, you see. There's a big difference, isn't there, between cake and grass?
Well, yes, I suppose there is, really. Unless you're travelling on British Rail, of course.
Surprisingly, the peasants were outraged, fed up with living 400 to a barrel, entirely brassed off with being used as garden implements, and now ordered to eat grass. This was the inevitable outcome.
The Bournemouth Park Keepers and Municipal Gardeners strike of 1932.
No, in fact, it is the French Revolution here.
Yes, free to be French. Look at this, typical bloody French. Never happier than when they got a piss pot on his head, look. A sausage in his hand, look at him waving it about, showing everybody how big his sausage is. Odious Frenchness. And before, of course, you can say Jean Robinson, they've erected a giant sausage slicer on every street corner.
Of course, the French have always been a pushover of visual gags, you know, Jacques Tati, the Pompidou Centre. But back in England, it was as ever satirical comedy that had them rolling in the aisles. Here's the Ben Elton of his day in full vitriolic flow.
Do you know what's really changed England's history in the last 50 years? Civil War, Bill of Rights, habeas corpus, not a bit of it. It was Nell Gwynn, the first cup of tea, and the water on Oliver Cromwell's nose.
Oliver Cromwell's nose. Brilliant, brilliant.
Oh, it's a killer. Oh, sorry, it's all too much. I think we'll have to take a break.
I think we'll have to.
Introducing the world's smallest coffee maker. It'll make 12 cups of delicious, fresh-tasting coffee in a fraction of the time. Well, it is only 35p. Brook Bond Red Mountain's 35p trial jars. 12 cups of ground coffee taste without the grind.
You can plan your own financial future. Or you can talk to Allied Dunbar. Allied Dunbar's insurance, pension and savings schemes have already helped secure the future for over 1 million people. So, for practical advice, wouldn't you be better off talking to Allied Dunbar? Personal financial guidance.
feel free.
The new Renault 21. At last, there's spirit in a family car.
The incredible private wealth of the House of Windsor. All the Queen's houses and all the Queen's men this week in the New Look Daily Express. We look at Monaco's wayward Princess Stephanie and her widening circle of friends. Should British troops still be on the streets of Ulster? Read the surprise results of the Special Express poll. Meet Tony Adams, the young star tipped as a future England captain. And Aretha Franklin, Queen of Soul. And for Valentine's Day, it's back to courtship, romance, and true, true love. The New Look Daily Express. Have we got news for you?
This other Eden, demi-paradise. This fortress built by nature for herself against infection and the hand of war. This happy breed of men, this little world, this precious stone set in the silver sea.
This Belgium.
It's England, in fact. So the Englishman, the worse for laudanum.
And the Englishwoman, I'm afraid, rather the worse for drink.
Ching-a-ring-a-ring-a, black-o, clink-o, got a lot of clinks, clanks and clones, half a dozen dazzling doodlum-daddlums, all rang the bells and the ding-dong.
What a magnificent pair of doodlum-daddlums she had.
But if the women were too busy dallying with their dinkum-dankums, then at least the pigs would dance with anyone.
And talking of farmyard animals... Yes, Prime Minister's Question Time, 1759.
But the Englishman was never happier than when he was galloping. Here he comes, galloping over the fields, galloping past the hedges, galloping under the trees, obviously to meet up with his beloved, who lives just past this little church here. And at long last he arrives, still galloping, to where his love waits in her chamber, panting, panting, panting with anticipation. Oh dear, no. Oh, he's galloping off in the other direction now. She's looking a bit disappointed, to say the least. He's obviously forgotten something fairly vital. So across the fields he gallops in search of the local apothecary for a packet of, for a bottle of aspirin. He gallops across the fields, gallops past the hedges, gallops under the trees. He's not getting any nookie, but at least he's getting a good old-fashioned gallop. Galloping. He can't stop bloody galloping. A field filled with sheep. I think he's had a rather bizarre 18th century idea there, but the sheep don't seem particularly interested. On he gallops, yes, and he's just spotted a shepherd, and he's going to tell him what he's looking for. Will he be in luck? No. The shepherd's obviously insulted. Perhaps he's a Roman Catholic or something. So galloping, bloody galloping. All right, we've had enough galloping. Thank you very much, yes.
And if a man wasn't galloping, then the other form of transport was the stagecoach. A dark, moonlit night, a deserted heath, and yes, you find yourself stuck with two members of the South Croydon Amateur Light Operatic Society. That was a coachload of opera fans, and here's the first coachload of football fans arriving at the Watford Gap service station.
Obviously, they had better facilities at Watford Gap in those days. But despite all this, the English were becoming more aware of the gathering threat on the other side of the channel.
Have you seen today's Times, sir?
No, will you?
The news from Paris. Yes. Over 50 people guillotined in one day.
Damnable, useless cruelty.
Well, what can you expect of a lot of foreigners with no sporting instincts? Gad, if it wasn't for our fox hunting and our pheasant shooting, I dare say we should be cruel too.
Yes, an Englishman could go about anything, even his vegetables.
When it comes to growing turnips, I'm the first farmer in Europe, eh? What? Here, examine them for yourself. Yes, I take it. Wait. Smell it.
A remarkable vegetable, sir.
Yes, isn't it? Yes. Send you on the way tomorrow. Mix them with mutton. Eh? What?
There we are, totally incomprehensible. As indeed is the behaviour of another race, known affectionately as the jocks, and known offensively as a bunch of hairy, drunken bastards. Why incomprehensible? Well, here we see.
Yes, here's a Scotsman raking his roof. Instead of his garden, daft old sod, and in the distance there, 3 jocks trying to find an off-licence. And here's a lady, well, she looks relatively normal. And just a minute, yes, sorry, could we go back on that clip just a minute? Could we take that back? Yes.
Oh, no, Griff, that looks nothing like me at all.
No. If we look very closely here, she is, in fact, milking a bull.
That presumably accounts for that wailing noise in the background.
And who's this old drunk? No, you'll never fit that ship in that bottle, Jimmy.
Yes, well, and there he is, the chairman of the Scottish Information Bureau.
So, in around 1750, the Scottish nation completely out of its tree, especially when they accepted advice from the man at the back here, with the orange makeup and the yellow wig.
Certainly Cumberland's army is only 20 miles away. Certainly Wade's troops are moving in. Certainly George of Hanover stands between us and London. But, sirs, we are like boys playing football against stiff old men. We can dodge Wade, twist past Cumberland, overthrow George of Hanover. And when we have reached our goal, London, can you not see what must happen?
Yes, you'll lose 2-0 and not even qualify for the quarter-finals.
So, with Scotland not even a contender for the World Cup, the final was to be fought out between England and France.
Let's take a look at the team managers. For the French, Napoleon, the brandy-swigging general who was a master of disguise. Sometimes he was mean, podgy, and suffering from indigestion. And then again, he could be tanned, fat, and rather annoyed that somebody just sat on his hat.
Leading the British, the Duke of Wellington, a rather dubious and peculiar man, and his relationship with Napoleon was particularly suspect.
Almost close enough to kiss him. Very tempting.
Not exactly Rambo, is he?
Fortunately, Britain had another great leader, Horatio Nelson. Not only an admiral, but also something of an historian. Unfortunately, his audience is Lady Hamilton, who is still shell-shocked from her meeting with Sir Rodney Pompous.
What a century it's been. Marlborough rode to war, and Washington crossed the Delaware. Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette. The last of the Stuarts. Peter the Great. Voltaire. Clive of India. Bonaparte.
The canteen cutlery, the cutlery.
Yes.
For the fondue
The fondue set. The wine rack. Yes. The cutlery toy. That's right. Yes. Yes, what a century it was. And what a tragedy that Horatio, one of our greatest national heroes, was to fall to his death on the deck of the Victory.
Oh, go on, man. He said kiss me, Hardy, not peck me, Hardy.
He was like saying goodnight to his grandma.
Dear, wasn't it? Dear. Well, pity Wellington wasn't around. He'd have given him a real big, wet, sloppy one.
So, those were the leaders. And what of the war? Well, we know for a fact that the 2 crucial battles happened within 10 minutes of each other. Waterloo, 1805, Trafalgar, 1815. Yes, from 6:05 to 6:15, all hell broke loose.
And here is Waterloo Station and its surrounds. This is the age of the steam trains, obviously, hence all the smoke. Obviously, it looks very, very different in those days, of course, but that's obviously Waterloo Bridge there with the French chartered accountants herring across it. Just off the 5:59. They must be late, obviously rushing for the taxi ranks. On the far side, now that's the actual site of the National Theatre, interestingly enough. And, of course, as usual, there are a few drunk Scotsmen wandering about.
And then, 10 minutes later, the entire battle moves into Trafalgar Square. Now, that really is different, isn't it? Hardly recognisable at all, obviously. I mean, obviously the fountains were much bigger in those days. And there's the National Gallery under fire there, as it is today, of course. And, it's caught fire, which is probably why they built another one. And, well, there are no pigeons around. presumably because of the noise, and American tourists, presumably because of all the bombs going off.
Remarkably, in the midst of all this, the confident Nelson still found time to initiate the introductory English course for sailors, but he only managed to teach them one word each.
England.
Expects
that every man will do his duty.
Yes, obviously the last two men then managed two words. Probably grammar school material, I should think.
And then, at 6:15 precisely, Britain revealed her secret weapon. They wheeled out the man with the worst flatulence in Europe.
My lords, I return you many thanks for the honor you have done me. But Europe is not to be saved by any single man. England has saved herself by her exertion.
Faced with the exertions of this one man, the French retreated hastily across the Channel, and England had won. Yes, so there you have it, the Anglo-French Wars, a story of sausages, women with moustaches, dinkum-donkums, gay generals, and appalling wind.
And students of history may be interested to know that our pamphlet, Chipolatas and Flatulence, The European Connection, is now available. Price £14.95. Next week, we will be asking this question. Is it possible that this lady, the mother of the empire, the founder of the Commonwealth, and the moral guardian of the British people...
Resembling, wir haben genug Ärger in Indien. Aber Indien ist reich. Was sollen wir uns mit diesen armen, schmutzigen Bauern da unten in Afrika treiben?
was in fact a clapped-out alcoholic who spoke unremitting gibberish.
Right.